And so you took pity on me. So I'm currently
I
using an
did not.
XR.
I gave you something you needed. There was no pity.
Why?
Well, it goes right into all of that. Now, this is a little bit more boring parenting talk, but it's something I find fascinating. Change is rough. Even when you're a chaos god like I am, I love change all the time. I rush into change, sometimes a little too much. And sometimes there's just some turbulence, right? Because I always get through because I love what I love, and we'll get there. Changing a phone plan, it's especially with family, anybody but yourself, it can be a lot. So how do I, Joe? Because you just went through this with not just your wife. I believe you're still tag teaming with your in-laws somehow, some way there.
Yep.
But how do I decide that the any kind of plan, but for in this case a phone plan, moving 4 phones for 4 adults? I'm gonna guess at least 2 of them are not super excited about tech and care about the newest, latest everything. How do I decide that it's worth all the trouble and that it's not? It's the disruption of life is going to be minimum.
Yeah. So all 4 of the adults on this plan, well, all 4 of us, because there's only the 4 of adults on the plan. We've been talking about how getting new cell phones for a long time. But we looked at our bill and we're like, I'm sure we can find something cheaper. And so with those being our main 2 considerations, we've been looking at a bunch of different phone plans that we could switch to all within our current cell service and outside of it. And so we looked at all the different like smaller ones that you hear, like Mint and Cricket and different ones, as well as the larger providers. Because we're with T-Mobile, we looked at Verizon, we looked at AT&T, we looked at the different ones, and ultimately, what pulled us in is I saw an advertisement that Verizon said if you switch over, you can get 4 iPhone 17 Pros on them. And whenever I see a deal, I always want to look at the specifics of the deal. Because I've done that before with Sprint back before they got bought out by T-Mobile, where like you trade in your iPhone, you get this one for free. Well, for free really ended up being we pay for half of it and then we get discounts on our bill for the next X number of cycles or whatever. It was like for 2 years or something like that. And so I was like, okay. And that one, half the time they would forget to apply the discount. And so I would have to call them and I have to go through all that hassle. And we're like, no, we're never doing this again with Sprint because it's been such a horrible thing and they keep forgetting to apply it and whatever. And so when it came to Verizon, now we'll see how it ends up playing out in actuality, because if they keep forgetting to put in the credits and whatnot, we'll see. But what it's supposed to be is that it'll show on our bill that we don't pay anything, but it'll show a $30.55 charge that is getting also deducted in the same bill.
Yeah, for the standard, when it's on us, I believe the consumer, in this case, Joe, has to pay for the taxes still some way, somehow, typically. But
yeah, the sales taxes.
So they'll advertise, right? Get the iPhone 17, it's $36 a month. So it'll say you owe that $36, and then you'll get a credit for the exact same amount when it's on us for the 2 years. Because they still build in that technically you're paying it, they're just giving it right back to you. Because if you leave and break that contract, you still owe.
You still owe the difference. Yep. Yeah, because and technically there is no it's month to month. Like it doesn't have a set commitment on it. There is no, I guess there's no early termination fee as part of the contract. So we can leave, but then we would still be required to pay for the rest of the devices. Yep. But so, and the price that we got is locked in for 3 years, which is how long it'll take to pay off the devices anyway.
They locked you on 3 for the device and not 2?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Now I
Yeah.
know for you that doesn't matter. Tell everybody what model. Now you're going to the 17 Pro.
Yep.
Right, which is a very nice choice. I actually have a 16. My wife has a 17, so you're going brand new. But what model would it be? Like the 15, maybe even the 12? Joe, was it the 12s?
Nope. All of us are going from an iPhone X to the 17 Pro. Well, actually, you gave me an XR,
which,
because the battery in my X was just so completely shot. You took pity on me and pulled one that one of your kids used to have that they had dropped a few dozen times and was all cracked. You're like, here, this has some battery. and so you took pity on me. So I'm currently using an XR.
I gave you something you needed. There was no pity there.
And so technically my wife since November has been running, I think, a 13, because she dropped her X and the screen popped off. So we found something on Amazon and bought it real quick for like $400 or something. Yeah. And so I think she's got a 13. But yeah, so we're jumping basically from an iPhone X to a 17 Pro, which is going to be a huge upgrade. And my father-in-law, he's been talking for the last couple of months about wanting to get an iPhone 17 anyway. And so,
are any of you guys picture takers with your phone?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you are going to be blown away by the difference.
Yeah. Well, and the quality of pictures keeps going up and up, which means the memory that they take keeps going up and up.
Oh, okay. Quick tip. When you get your phones, you need to go in, at least for the images and in the settings, and make it the JPEG and not the HEIC or whatever that Apple can do. And that will help. Say it'll be good quality and it'll help really condense down. And then if you go sharing them, it's a lot easier to share the JPEGs than the HEICs, as I pronounce. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, because I had never messed with that on the iPhone X, but I did notice whenever I would port over my pictures to my computer that they were in that. I assume it's an Apple proprietary format.
Kind of high image something.
Okay, I'll have to take that into mind. But we had the option of increasing the storage, and then we would pay the difference.
Okay.
Over the 3 years. And so
what was the base storage they're offering you?
256.
That's solid.
That's
solid storage.
Yeah. Well, that's just the lowest available for the 17 Pro is 256. And so the other options are 512 and 1 terabyte.
Right. Before you go to that, how much memory did you have on your XR that I gave you?
I think it's 64.
64? Yeah.
I'm pretty. Let me check, but I'm pretty sure it's 64. Storage. iPhone storage. Yep, 64.
So Joe is going from a one-room studio to a mansion, and he had the options of getting bigger mansions. So,
and so the other three opted for the 512, and I opted for the terabyte. So originally they were going to go with the terabyte as well, but the salesman talked him out of it. And
why is that? Why are they talking him out of it?
He was talking about how if a scammer comes in, them wanting the biggest and best is a red flag. Because he was talking about how if we pick up the phones and then ghost them and don't pay, it comes out of his paycheck.
Oh my God, dude! I'm sorry. Listen. I don't usually make this show, but here's a after school special. The more you know, racial moment. Look at the most white bread people that are sitting in front of you that you've ever freaking seen. Add Mormon mayonnaise on top of it. These are not the people that are taking these phones and ghosting you, dummy. Sorry.
No.
Oh my God. Come on, man.
No, he said he wasn't worried about it with us. He was just talking about in general. But what it made my in-laws do is they're like, do I really need a terabyte? And they're like, we could probably get...
your in-laws do not.
Probably not.
They do not.
And they were like, well, we could probably get away with the 256, but we want the 512. And so they're like, okay, we'll go with the 512 instead. So they convinced themselves out of the terabyte, and they were looking at me expectingly. I'm like, no, I'm going with the terabyte. You guys can move down. That's fine. I'm going with the terabyte. I want the terabyte because I will probably have this phone for the next 7 or 8 years. To be honest.
Yeah, that tracks.
And so it's gonna get full of pictures that I will forget to delete or purge or move over to a service or whatever, and so they're gonna sit on there, and it's gonna be full of videos and whatnot, and it's gonna consume a ton of space. And now granted, I'm going from 64 gigs to a terabyte, so it's gonna take a long time to consume that. And could I get away with the 512? Probably, but
I've stayed personally on 256 for the last couple models and done okay.
Yeah,
but you do have to have a backup service for your pictures if you're going to do that.
Yes, and so I won't worry about space. I will just take all the pictures I want, take all the videos I want, because right now I'm like, okay, take like 2 or 3 pictures at different events. Now I'm just gonna be like 20 pictures and a whole bunch of videos, and just, I can do whatever I want because I've got all the space.
I remember when old young Joey had a phone that he couldn't hardly play Pokemon Go on. It was overheating constantly and had to be on a battery pack without fail, and it was slow to react, and he upgraded and the world parted and he got an iPhone X, and here we are 50,000 years later, and he's finally upgrading to the 17. So yeah, I agree. It'll probably be on the iPhone 27 implant by the time you upgrade.
Well, and ironically, the reason that I upgraded to the X was because before that I had the iPhone 5 and it was no longer going to be supported for Pokemon Go.
We're not going. You got to get off.
Yeah, Pokemon Go was like, nah, we don't want to deal with you oldies.
Yes, because it was 6 and higher. You were actually starting to look at 6s. Like, no, that's the next one to get cut, dude. You got to go up the line.
Well, and the ironic thing is, at one point I had a 6 Plus. But I don't know how much you remember about the issues with the 6 Plus. They were huge, but they would get micro bends just from being in your pocket.
Yep.
And where the bends tended to be, it would pull loose a chip on the motherboard that would make it so that your touch screen didn't work. And so that ended up happening to both me and my wife. And Apple, as a company, they denied. No, it's not our fault. It's not our fault. They didn't want to accept the design flaw.
It was,
and they dragged it out for like 4 or 5 years until they finally admitted, oh yeah, no, our bad. You can send it in and we'll fix it. And at that point, everyone's already moved away from it. So so it's just like scummy business practices. And so after that happened, I went back to my iPhone 5 after being on the 6 Plus, and I was just like, okay, well, I'm not going to bother upgrading in a timely manner. I'll just ride stuff out.
In short, though, I mean, I love the stories, good stuff. But what was it that, for the how do I part of this, what was it that made you all go, okay, there'll be some disruption. You have to, like, they're back order. You haven't even started a new thing yet, so you'll have to get the new phones. There'll be some transfer time. It doesn't take all that long, honestly. As long as the X supports whatever the new stuff is, it transfers very fast. It'll actually save all your passwords on all your websites and stuff, so you don't have to redo all that crap. It's really, really, really cool. As long as you have saved your stuff in the key, whatever the security thing that Apple has, the
iCloud
key, iCloud key, whatever it is. Yeah, it's great. But there's still going to be some turbulence. There's still going to be some moments. And you're going from one company to another, so you don't know that devil. This is T-Mobile's the devil you know. Verizon's the devil you don't know. What was it made all you go, this will be okay? Well, whatever turbulence comes, this is worth it.
Yeah. So with my work phone being on Verizon, we knew that the coverage was decent around here. So we already had that.
Plus a good start. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus we'd already talked to some other people, because even though it's my work phone, I'm only using it for work, so it's not like I'm using it a ton compared to my personal driver. But we also talked to other people that daily drove Verizon and asked them how their experience in the general area, and people spoke positively of that. So we were confident in the coverage as far as the cell signal goes. And so what it boiled down to is the deal in and of itself. We did ask the people that we knew that had Verizon, because with a work cell, I don't deal with the customer service side of things. I don't deal with that
Sure.
aspect of it. So we did ask. Stuff just fell over. We did ask if they had any issues with customer service and things like that, and no one threw any like huge red flags. Let's face it, customer service in general sucks. And so really, you're just looking for, is it horrible or is it just bad? Because most people have bad customer service.
Sure, fair
Not
enough.
everyone, but
I'll say for T-Mobile, for me in Atlanta, for T-Mobile, there's always been excellent customer service.
Okay.
And Verizon, I had Verizon. How Oakland may have been 14 when we changed over, so we had it when he was about to be born. So we had Verizon for over 12 years, if not longer. But ultimately, the customer service got bad enough to where I just and other little issues. It was worth looking at something else at the time.
Yeah. And so, but getting the new phones and the bill was comparable. Well, what we thought we were going to get was comparable. We ended up, the guy that we were working with found some extra savings that cut off an additional $45 a month.
Wow.
For the next 3 years. We locked that in. And so we already thought we were getting a comparable deal. And then it was like, oh, no, you're actually getting an even better deal than what you currently have. So it was originally going to be roughly the same price. Plus we're getting new phones and the coverage was decent. And so we didn't see a reason to stay with T-Mobile.
Sure. And that is part of what capitalism is sometimes you got to jump ship to get a better deal. Because what Verizon got was either you're locked in and they're going to have a guaranteed money from you for 3 years, or you're going to ghost them. But your history, obviously, from your consumer report and everything else they can pull, shows that that's not going to be the case. So
yeah, because we were with, because I hopped in with my in-laws' plan when I got married, and they'd been with Sprint, who then was acquired by T-Mobile for the past 25 years. And so as long as Verizon treats us right, we'll probably stick with them, or in 3 years, we'll look to see who's got deals on getting new phones.
You know what? Maybe we could do our own. Smartless Mobile has done their own. The Smartless Podcast has done their own Smartless Mobile plan. We should get the Daddy-O's mobile plan. The phone doesn't ring when your daughter wants money. It gives you a special tone, so you know not to answer the phone.